Welcome back, everybody. For season two, we're focusing on influences on business.
Yeah, really going to get into how 8 different factors shape the business world, for better or for worse.
It's like building a toolkit, right? To navigate the ups and downs and all arounds of business, so to speak.
Exactly. We're going to unpack things like technology and ethics, the environment,
The economic climate, too, interest rates, globalization.
legislation, the competitive landscape, you name it.
We'll be looking at real-world examples, examining how each of these influences plays out.
And making sure to leave you with some food for thought.
Questions to ponder as you continue on your own business journeys.
Absolutely. And for this first deep dive, we're going to be tackling something that's been a real game changer in the last 50 years.
Okay, I think I know where you're going with this.
Technology.
Yeah. It's hard to even imagine business without it at this point, right? I mean, how we communicate, how things get made, how we buy and sell.
It's completely transformed every single aspect of business.
I heard someone compare it to the jump from silent films to talkies.
Oh, I like that. Like someone flipped a switch and suddenly everything's in Technicolor, there's sound, there's special effects.
Yeah, a totally different ballgame.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So let's start with the basics then. How has technology really changed the game for businesses? And while we're chatting about this, I want you to think about how technology has impacted your work, compared to 5, 10 years ago.
One of the most fundamental changes is just the sheer speed at which things happen now.
Yeah, like lightning speed compared to how it used to be.
For sure, think about processing information, for example. Crunching numbers, analyzing data. Computers can do it exponentially faster than we can, which translates to massive productivity gains.
It's true, we take it for granted. But could you imagine trying to run a global company before email, before video calls?
Oh, the logistics would be a nightmare.
Total chaos.
Yeah. But thanks to advances in communication technology, businesses can operate across borders seamlessly. Teams can collaborate in real time.
Decisions can be made faster,
Information flows freely throughout the organization.
like a well-oiled machine, in theory at least.
Well, there are always bumps in the road, but yeah, much smoother than it used to be.
And then you've got automation. Things are starting to get really interesting there. More and more tasks being handled by machines, from manufacturing to customer service.
That's where the worries about jobs come in, right? People are afraid of being replaced by robots.
The robots are coming.
Yeah, that's a common fear, but it's important to remember that automation isn't just about replacing human workers.
It's about augmenting our capabilities, freeing us up to focus on things that require more, human touch.
Exactly. The more strategic stuff, the creative stuff, the complex stuff.
So it's not so much robots are taking our jobs as it is robots are changing the nature of our jobs.
Precisely. And that shift in the labor market means that the skills that are in demand are shifting too.
Makes sense.
Businesses are looking for people who are comfortable working with technology, people who can adapt to new tools, people who can, think critically about how to use technology to solve problems.
So it's not just about knowing how to use a specific software program anymore.
Nope, it's about understanding the underlying principles of how technology works and how to apply those principles in a constantly changing business landscape.
It's a whole new way of thinking.
It really is.
Okay, so we've got all these amazing benefits, the speed, the efficiency, the productivity,
But there are some important considerations too, things businesses need to keep in mind.
like the cost, right?
Yeah.
Implementing new technologies can be a big investment up front.
You've got the hardware, the software, the installation, the integration, and then the ongoing maintenance and support.
And let's not forget about training. Got to make sure your people know how to use these new systems effectively.
All of that adds up, especially for smaller businesses.
So it's a bit of a gamble, isn't it? Weighing those potential long-term savings and efficiency gains against the short-term costs.
The classic trade-off.
It's a tough decision every business leader has to grapple with.
For sure. Got to do a thorough cost-benefit analysis before diving in headfirst.
Absolutely. And then there's the whole impact on the labor market, which we touched on earlier, but worth digging into a bit deeper.
Yeah, no doubt technology is disrupting industries, leading to job losses in some areas.
But it's also creating new opportunities in other areas.
That's the key takeaway. It's not just about jobs disappearing, it's about a shift in the types of jobs that are needed.
Think about data analytics, cybersecurity, artificial intelligence.
Fields that were practically non-existent a decade ago, and now they're booming.
It's wild, the speed of change.
So we need to adapt, right? Our education systems, government policies, individual workers, we all need to be prepared for the shift.
Okay, so shifting gears a bit, let's talk about e-commerce and min-commerce.
Ah, yes, the digital marketplace.
These terms get tossed around a lot. Can you give us a quick definition?
Sure, e-commerce is simply the buying and selling of goods and services online. Think Amazon, eBay, any online retailer.
Okay, so what about m-commerce?
M-commerce is basically e-commerce, but on mobile devices, smartphones, tablets, essentially shopping on the go.
So it's all about convenience.
Exactly, and it's completely changed the retail landscape.
Businesses suddenly have access to a global market.
And consumers can shop from anywhere, anytime.
Talk about a game changer.
So for businesses, the advantages are pretty clear. You've got that expanded market reach, you can operate 24/7, and potentially lower overhead costs compared to brick-and-mortar stores.
But I imagine there's some challenges too, right?
Of course, businesses need to invest in building user-friendly websites and mobile apps,
And make sure the payment processing is secure,
and figure out the logistics of shipping products all over the world.
which can be a nightmare.
Yeah, plus there's the increased competition. With so many businesses vying for attention online, it can be tough to stand out.
Yeah, got to have a strong online presence, build trust with customers, and constantly innovate to stay ahead of the game.
Couldn't agree more.
Speaking of staying ahead of the game, let's talk about Amazon. I mean, they're like the poster child for e-commerce success. They've practically written the playbook on using technology for massive growth in the online retail space.
They have, and I think a big part of their success is their obsession with speed and efficiency.
Everything is so streamlined, from their automated warehouses to their delivery network.
They use AI to personalize the shopping experience. They've got that Prime membership program that keeps people coming back for more.
It's all about convenience and value.
Exactly, and they're constantly innovating, always pushing the boundaries of what's possible with technology.
From drones to cashierless grocery stores, they're not afraid to experiment.
That's for sure.
But of course, their success hasn't been without its share of controversy.
There have been criticisms about their labor practices, their impact on small businesses, and their potential to create a monopoly.
It's a complex issue with a lot of different angles.
No easy answers there.
But it definitely raises some important questions about the role of technology in society and the need for ethical considerations.
I think that's a good place to leave it for now. Food for thought, as they say.
Absolutely, it's like they say, right? With great power comes great responsibility.
And technology definitely gives businesses a lot of power.
It does make you think about the ethics of it all. You know, how to make sure it's used responsibly, how to avoid the potential downsides.
Big questions we need to be asking as a society.
For sure, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. We still have a lot more to cover when it comes to technology's impact on business.
We've talked about speed, efficiency, automation, e-commerce.
What other key changes have you noticed?
Well, one area that often gets overlooked is the impact on decision-making.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Think about it. With the rise of big data and analytics, businesses now have access to a ton of information.
More than ever before.
Exactly, data about their customers, their competitors, their own internal operations.
So instead of relying on gut feeling or, anecdotal evidence,
They can make data-driven decisions. Decisions that are more likely to be accurate and effective.
the numbers don't lie, as they say.
And we're seeing more and more algorithms and predictive models being used to analyze all this data.
So they can identify patterns and trends that would be impossible for humans to spot.
Precisely.
It's like having a crystal ball that tells you what's going to happen in the future.
Well, not quite a crystal ball, but it does give businesses a significant advantage.
But of course, data is only as good as the people interpreting it, right?
Absolutely. That's why data literacy is becoming so important.
Businesses need employees who can understand and analyze data and then use it to make informed decisions.
It's not just about having data scientists on staff anymore. Everyone needs to have a basic understanding of how to work with data.
Data literacy, the new must-have skill.
It really is. And speaking of new skills, let's talk about artificial intelligence, or AI for short.
Okay, yeah. AI is a hot topic these days. What kind of impact do you see it having on the future of business?
AI has the potential to be even more transformative than the internet.
Wow, that's a bold statement.
It is, but I think it's true. AI is already being used in so many different industries.
Healthcare, finance, manufacturing.
You name it. And as AI systems become more sophisticated, we're going to see even more innovative applications emerge.
So what are some of the most exciting developments in AI that you're seeing right now?
Well, one area that I find particularly interesting is natural language processing, or NLP.
NLP, what's that all about?
It's basically the ability of computers to understand and process human language. Think chatbots that can answer customer questions.
Oh, right, like those virtual assistants that can schedule appointments and send emails.
Exactly, and translation software that can break down language barriers.
It's amazing how far NLP has come. I remember when chatbots were so clunky and frustrating.
Yeah, now they can handle complex requests and provide personalized responses.
It's like talking to a real person.
Well, almost.
So NLP is one exciting area. What else is there?
We're also seeing cool things happening with computer vision, which allows computers to see and interpret images and videos.
Like self-driving cars.
Yeah, that's a good example. And then there's machine learning, which allows computers to learn from data without being explicitly programmed.
So they can adapt and improve over time.
Exactly. It's all very exciting.
It sounds like AI is going to be integrated into every aspect of our lives, both at work and at home.
It already is, to a certain extent. Think about the recommendations you get on Netflix or Spotify.
Or the personalized ads on social media.
Or the fraud detection systems used by your bank, all powered by AI.
It's everywhere.
And that's just the beginning. As AI continues to evolve, it's going to change everything.
It's both exciting and a little bit scary, wouldn't you say?
It is. There are definitely some potential downsides we need to be aware of.
Like what?
Well, there are concerns about job displacement, bias in algorithms, privacy issues.
Big questions we need to grapple with.
But I'm optimistic that we can harness the power of AI for good. Create a future where technology benefits everyone.
I hope so.
Me too. But it's important to have these conversations now, to think critically about the implications of AI and to make sure its development is guided by ethical principles.
We need to be proactive, not reactive.
Absolutely. Technology is a powerful tool, and like any tool, it can be used for good or for bad.
It's up to us to decide how we want to use it.
I think that's the key takeaway here.
It feels like we've only just scratched the surface here. So much to talk about when it comes to technology and business. But maybe we can zoom out a bit. Think big picture. Any thoughts on the long-term implications of all this? How's technology going to shape the business landscape over the next, say, 50 years?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, nobody can predict the future with certainty, but we can look at what's happening now and kind of make some educated guesses.
Extrapolate, as they say.
Exactly. And one thing that seems pretty clear is that the pace of change is only going to get faster.
So buckle up, right?
Yeah, hold on tight. The businesses that thrive in this environment are going to be the ones that embrace change, the ones that are willing to experiment, to innovate, to adapt quickly to whatever comes their way.
Sounds like flexibility and agility are going to be key.
Couldn't agree more.
It's going to be an interesting ride, that's for sure. And I think it's important for all of us, no matter what industry we're in, to stay informed about all this tech stuff. Think critically about how it might impact our lives and our work.
Absolutely. We need to be active participants in shaping the future, not just sitting back and watching it happen.
Well said. And on that note, I want to thank you for joining us on this deep dive into technology's impact on business. It's been a great conversation.
The pleasure was all mine.
And a special shout out to Google Notebook LM for the powerful AI assistance in audio dialogue. This episode of The Deep Dive was a PLC strategy production.